So this is gonna get dicey. For many reasons. Well, two reasons really. Topics that could get this very channel cancelled. I mean like buried under the YouTube floorboards. Just a few levels above Andrew Tate and Fresh and Fit. Now I want you to hear me out. Don't just jump to conclusions and keep it civil in the comment section. The points, proof, and musings you're about to hear are based around a simple question. And that question is, what the f*** happened to celebrity palm-hued women? Now this is not so much about Karens, though Karenisms are most certainly present. I'm just talking about the quality of the type of woman that gets pedestaled by the likes of Hollywood and the music industry. In the age of MAGA, the caliber of female celebrity has absolutely fallen off into the abyss of mediocrity. I'm talking about carte blanche to carte bland. And I remember it never used to be like that. You guys had absolute bombshells. I'm talking the Marilyn Monroes, but not just the golden era of Hollywood either. We're talking Sharon Stones, the Cindy Crawfords, hell, Princess Diana, absolute baddies. Women that made all men globally say, I 100% get it. Even if they were not your cup of tea, or you were married, you would 1000% risk it, all for a flirty exchange. Now all we have to look forward to is the cookie cutter doughboy aesthetic. You know the kind, where white women are following the Kardashian aesthetic, and the Kardashians are following and imitating the transgendered aesthetic, and the transgenders are imitating black women and their aesthetic, who are also following the Kardashian aesthetic. It's all very confusing. And I say all of this respectfully. And it's not just a physical thing, it's an aura thing too. Prime example, this French chick I know, face guard 1000, an absolute stunner. Flushed cheeks where she looks like she's constantly blushing. Blood flushed full lips. Her figure goes into the Captain Hook walk the plank territory, but she makes up for it with sharp wit, humor, and an infectious laugh. She smokes, but somehow smells good. Then there's this American goof I know. Dull hair, plastic social media curated smile, a snarky passive-aggressive berry. Couldn't pick her out of a lineup if I tried. Voice like a cheese grater on a chalkboard. Yuck. She reminds me of that girl, Junior's girlfriend in Arrested Development.
Who?
Anne. You know, she's the girl I'm kind of hanging out with.
I haven't met Anne.
Yes, you have. That's her right over there.
Oh, Anne. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I know Anne. Hey, you.
So unbelievably bland that she fell off the page and out of people's existence, even while she was present in the room. Where that used to be an oddity back in the day, in the present day Earth server, this is now the field. And I, for one, want to stop the extinction level event. I'm like Elon Musk for white South Africans. Oh, Jesus Christ. Without the extra organ-filled torso, or tripping balls off the SpaceX version of ketamine. There are 3 of the worst kind of mediocre blands I want to focus on. Hopefully you are not fans of one of them, or you're not one of them yourselves. All have some connection to the alt-right to some degree, which can't be a coincidence. Actually, they're not so much 3 kinds, but 3 variables that make up the mediocre woman. Something I've discovered in my own personal research and observations. So, the 3 factors that affect the mediocre type? Well, it's talent, intelligence, and beauty. However, there are some caveats that affect how these 3 factors work and correlate with each other. First thing to know, all these variables, in their optimum levels, are still relatively average. Maybe a little above average, but nothing to jerk your about. Also, each variable is severely handicapped by the other 2. That's to say, if you try to move dial 1 up, the other 2 get limiters put on them. So, with that in mind, let's take a look at the first mediocre woman, the talent class. That means talent is as high as it can possibly go, but intelligence and beauty take a hit. Now, purely for illustrative reasons, a perfect example of this class is Taylor Swift. Sorry, Swifties, it has to be said. If she's not taking a private jet to shop for groceries down the street, she's using album art ripped off from an artist on Tumblr. Possibly the greatest professional victim ever to be in the industry, where fans equally say her lyrics are deeply layered. But then she says shit like this.
Sleepless in the onyx night, but now the sky is opalite.
Jesus Christ. A lyric inspired by her relationship with then fiancé, now husband Travis Kelce. We are sure the reference to black and white had nothing to do with the fact that Travis's ex-girlfriend was African American. And now that he's back on Team Opalite, the future is bright. Because here, Onyx Night is ominous, but Opalite is white, pure. Actually, not pure. Onyx is a precious stone formed by Mother Nature. Opalite, on the other hand, is man-made, literally fake. You didn't tap into that genius to see this analogy all the way through, did you, Taylor? F***ing goof. But that's the thing, her talent is maxed out. Everything else takes the hit. We won't get into the fact that her entire career involves her playing the wounded victim card, gaining notoriety off the chemtrails of Kanye's shenanigans and her father allegedly pumping her stock price up by buying 40,000 copies of her first single. Or that they're the biggest star in the world, but still gets passed around from one schmuck to the other via her masters. So much for the girl power strew men vibes when you have zero ownership of your own craft. Reminds me of the boss bee Megan Thee Stallion, who was doing the splits with the label that resembled more of a shafting. Yuck. Like really and truly, I don't even understand why artists get signed in this day and age. At least back in the day you had an A&R. But anyways, we digress. In all honesty, hats off to the Opalite Delight. Because anyone that can hold a note on stage, wearing the sparkly of dresses, whilst frothing at the mouth and nose with Wuhan level snot bubbles, should be commended. Yuck.
You've got so many people who scream context, 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 but then they don't seem to be able to pick up on any obvious context clues, right? Like when someone is surrounded by MAGA supporters and their best friends are MAGA supporters and they go to MAGA parties and they listen to MAGA podcasts and they seemingly endorse all this horrible stuff while remaining completely silent while horrible stuff happens to women, minorities, you name it.
Now let's tinker with these mediocre sliders once again. This time, let's go for beauty. Punch that shit all the way up, as far as it can go. Talent is taking a hit, as you can see. Intelligence too. And the perfect mid exemplified here is, well, Sabrina Carpenter. I mean, if you think a surgeon's hands are sexy, is she an actress, a singer, a model? Like, genuinely, I'm asking, because I honestly do not know. However, you can tell when the celebrity machine is pushing someone down our collective throats.
Is that what you're doing? I don't like it. That's your culture, is yodeling? Is this Burning Man? What's going on? This is weird.
I think it's weird that you sexualize yourself as some kind of little tiny child. I think it's weird that you have children in your shows and you're doing sex positions on stage. I think that that's really weird, especially considering the industry you're in, Sabrina. You're the weird one.
Another perfect example, Katy Perry. If you don't know who this woman is, count yourself as one of the lucky ones. Otherwise, some of you may know her as the woman that took an 85-year-old veteran with Huntington's disease to court. Why? To gain possession of his $50 million mansion. Naturally. Or you might know her as the woman who supposedly got launched into space via Amazon Prime, and then proceeded to call herself a f***ing astronaut. All for floating for a few minutes during an 11-minute suborbital flight. NASA, step your game up. Or you may know Katy Perry from her dating the ex-Canadian President Justin Trudeau, who may actually be the love child of Fidel Castro, while internet wormhole. Justin Trudeau's parents were swingers. They visited Cuba often and were friends with Fidel Castro. And this side-by-side isn't helping. It's an entire wormhole that we'll label as conspiracy theory. For now. Or you may very well know Katy Perry as a pest that would have gotten the Weinstein treatment if she had a penis.
Katy Perry finger banged my cleavage. It was a weird night.
You didn't even make the smush sound. Right, okay.
After Ruby claimed that Katie had
rubbed her over her face
until she
projectile vomited.
Nevertheless, this mediocre woman has been clockwork oranged to the masses, thanks to the likes of Jeff Bezos and Jay Penske. Also, we can enjoy her selling her shitty brand of footwear and her butchering Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World.
The best part was when we got back in our seats after 0 G's, Katie sang What a Wonderful World.
She did?
Come on. She sang What a Wonderful World. I see dreams. Oh, yes.
Oh.
Neil Armstrong had a powerful quote lined up when he took his first step on the moon. Allegedly. Katy Perry, on the other hand, well, had this to say.
I feel super connected to love.
Will you write a song about this experience?
Oh, for sure, 100%. And not only that, I got to reveal my set list for the tour on a butterfly. How apropos.
Science. Now let's play around with the intellect dial, which seems like it's stuck. Well, let's see what it gets us. Of course, Sydney Sweeney. Like every man here, we've enjoyed the acting prowess of this woman in the prolific Marvel Sony film Madam Web, and her great assets on full display on the red carpet. Nevertheless, eye candy playing smart can only garner dumb results. And Sweeney had her time to shine when she showed us that those genetic recessive genes is what makes her denim far superior in an ad for American Eagle jeans, which may have is the owner. Don't get me started. Now, this idea of blue eyes and blonde equals good genes is clearly a sentiment that the Austrian painter would advocate for. And sure, you could play naive and say this was all blown out of proportion because I am not a Nazi. Oh no, the eugenics Barbie with all that intellect went on an interview with GQ to clear up a few things. And by clear up a few things, I mean not address any of the accusations and be as vague as possible.
I love jeans. All I wear are jeans. I'm literally in jeans and a t-shirt like every day of my life.
Jeans are uncontroversial. Jeans are awesome. The president tweeted about the jeans ad, and I wondered what that was like.
It was surreal.
Mm-hmm.
The ad spoke for itself.
The criticism of the content, which was basically that white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority. Since you are talking about this, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that specifically.
I think that when I have an issue that I want to speak about, people will hear.
Not denouncing eugenics or the Nazism, because no one wants to upset Middle America, who may just be okay with a Zionist-level honeypot beauty with media training that can play evasive word games. That, however, changed when the vagueness started hitting Sweeney's pockets and her recent film, Christie, at the box office. Because her newly found MAGA fans, and having a cosign by the orange tyrant of America, turned out not to be the type of people that would go to the cinema to watch a true story about a closeted lesbian female boxer overcoming DV from her trainer-turned-husband. I could have told you that, dummy. When it finally settled in her little brain, see how quickly Sydney did a 360-degree turn and gave us a ChatGPT quote about not supporting any idea that divides. Bit too late. And nevertheless, still a few crayons shy of a coloring box. And of course, we could talk about talent. She starred in the movie Housemaid. Granted, it's a Paul Feig movie. The same guy that gave us this gem, the all-girl Ghostbusters. Yikes. So the bar is already set limbo low. But if you don't mind wasting money, and you have an hour to kill watching this vanilla pop movie, I want you to look at her acting at the beginning of the movie, the middle of the movie, and at the end of the movie. There is absolutely no observable change in her delivery of this role. She has the acting range of a dead car battery. Flatline. Whether she's horny, angry, injured, same soulless, dead-eyed expression. Not even the memories of memories could save her performance. Ugh. This seems so limiting. Surely we can move all 3 sliders at once. What's the worst that could... Oh, holy shit, in the middle of the bed. Amber Heard. Not many women can have someone like Elon Musk as their pay pig. Or take a huge number 2 dump in a bed and still be defended as a sane human being. But somehow, Amber Heard had delusional f***ness, all clamoring in defense of a vile, physically and emotionally abusive, violent thug. Could you imagine if a black woman did half the shit she did? Jesus. But it is okay. According to the golden ratio, she has the most perfect facial features. Look at that beauty. And intelligence to match. Well, if you believe that manipulation is a high form of intelligence, then sure, she's intelligent. They do say the greatest achievement of human beings over animals is the ability to lie. So I guess she's up there, especially over those violent, dancing, Africanized bees.
My dog stepped on a bee. We went to the vet. My dog stepped on a bee.
Seeing narcissists trying to feign emotions it can only observe but not feel would be funny if it wasn't disturbing. And the fact after being found out to be a disturbed, lying c***, doctoring evidence, and being exposed as an abuser, she had the audacity to still claim a miscarriage of justice when she had to settle up in the defamation case against Johnny Depp. Can you believe it? After he willfully made her employable in the greatest DC movie ever created, Aquaman. Such an amazing talent. Now she's quit Hollywood and lives comfortably, likely a vampiric life in Spain. I imagine her like in that end scene of Silence of the Lambs, where Hannibal Lecter walks off in a sea of people, blending in with the locals ready to hunt for another rich simp to drain dry. Women can't help but be political. Many issues in the world today concerning them are dictated and controlled by others. Voting, birth control, healthcare. Throw race and economics into the mix, and you get even more f***ed up dynamics. And that's why those that would have these virtueless, vanilla vixens represent the heart and soul of Americana, where product SKUs and industry plans are shoved down our throats, we miss out on the cool, creative ones. The Sinead O'Connors. Did I say redheads with fat asses? And I'm not gonna lie, the gingers were on a timeout when they started bitching about Ariel being black. Like there aren't black redheads. But I want you to realize a dark, ugly truth. One that you may not want to admit. Deeper than souls trapped in the vortex that is a redhead with a fat ass. White women are seldom on the right side of history. Sorry, facts hurt. And I know what you're thinking. Surely that can't be right. We got Mary from Sinners, Julia Roberts, redheads with, you get the drift.
What about the suffragettes?
The suffragettes bullied Frederick Douglass when he started prioritizing enslaved black men, women, and children over white women's suffrage. Not a competition, but one could ride bicycles, do light shopping, and legally get away with murdering black children and house servants. The other, well, were slaves that were worked, experimented on, and beaten to death.
Feminism! What about feminism?
Gloria Steinem, the leader of second wave feminism, was a CIA spook that infiltrated and destroyed the Black Panther movement from within, covertly using black women to do it.
The pink ladies, pussy hat, and all the other pink labia warrior types. Can't say nothing bad about them.
Man, that was a liberal white woman's day out to protest Trump and the patriarchy's sexual deviancy. Then more than half of white women went into the polls and voted against their own rights. which is only fitting, seeing pink as a movement and a color is a Diet Coke version of a red-blooded incel white supremacy conservatism. In the end, let this be a lesson not to celebrate mediocrity. And the best way to know if you're enamored with a maiden of mediocrity is to literally check who funds them. How much money is being funneled into platforms to bombard your psyche with their visage every day? Do they have style and grace? Or do they play the algorithm game? Are they talented? Or are they flashy?
Do you have much experience on stage? Is that something that interests you?
I have horrible stage fright.
You know what that is?
What?
Inexperience.
Are they beautiful inside and out? Or are you a fan of a nip-tuck surgeon? Because chances are, if you're more latter than former, then you are a basic bitch. Hell, not just because the celebrities you love are mediocre, but because you follow celebrities in the first place. Hell, me making this video, I had to do a ton of research. Mind-numbing.
Are you serious, my brother?
Man, if Umar don't move his big head out of the way, well, I guess that makes me no better, does it? That, and I unwittingly expose my browser history for the world to see. Well, what are you gonna do? A man has his vices. Just don't make your vices mediocre, bitch.